Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and in continuing with this series, this is going to be day 3. This is my third day bench pressing again. For people who aren't up to speed with what I'm doing here, guys, I haven't bench pressed in a year and a half. 2 days ago I started benching again, and I'm going to document for you guys that overhead pressing is able to maintain the muscle mass, strength, things like that on a bench press, and I'm going to rebuild my bench press in a very short period of time. Using the foundation that I've maintained and even built and everything else, just overhead pressing. So this is my third day. I'm about to change the structure of what I'm doing. I'm doing 5 rep sets to restart what I'm doing here. I'm doing 5 rep sets. I'm about to switch back over to accumulation work, but the point was I didn't want to go too heavy to start back out. And it's mainly because I just wanted to rebuild some fatigue, relearn the motor patterns. And even though I'm cutting, because this is an exercise and an entire movement pattern that I have completely detrained and not touched for over a year, I may actually gain a little bit of muscle while cutting in certain areas. So by coming in and doing some fatigue work, which is what I'm doing, that's going to happen. And this is my 3rd day in a row. When I say day 3 on this one, I literally mean this is 3 days in a row bench pressing, and it shows because I hit fatigue and I was not able to complete all of my predicted sets. Yesterday, everything was fast and clean. Now, notice my setup. We're going to go back to something here. You guys see me setting up. I'm going to start using a term here. We're going to say, do it right, keep it tight. Because everyone's like, well, what do you mean by getting tight on the bench press? That's what I mean by getting tight on the bench press. All right, you notice that even I'm tight when I let the bar sink into my chest. I sink into the chest and pause. I'm not touching my chest. I am burying the bar in my chest, and then I stand straight up. Now, what do I mean by tight? The fact that I'm ratcheted in so tight that I can just stand straight up off of my legs. My butt comes completely off the bench, and I just stand up onto my feet. That's tight. And if you can't do that, you either have a weak core or you are too floppy on the bench press. You should be able to do that at any point. If you can't do what I just did, you are not tight enough on the bench press. You are a loose, floppy noodle. All right, that's why guys can't pause bench. That's why you see guys like Alpha Destiny who they can't pause at all. Who else? Vegan Gains, same problem. Because they're loose on the bench. They're loose. They're flopping around. You have to get tight. You have to set in tight. You dig your feet, whether it's your heels or the balls of your feet. I do the balls of my feet. You dig them in. And when you dig your feet in, your ass digs into the bench. The only thing that should be touching the bench are your glutes and your traps. Okay, notice I'm set in. I run a very small arch because I'm trying to bench mostly flat back. There's a gap. There's a gap about 8 inches to 10 inches under my back there to where there is no contact with the bench because I'm set in tight. Tight. Now, I believe this one I might have only got 4 reps because I went to do it, and the 4th rep was really slow. No, I got 5 on this one, I guess. That last rep was really slow, and I realized I was extremely fatigued. So what I had to do there, I rested 5 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I got this, and came back under, and here's what happened. I believe on this one, I only did 1 rep. Is this the one? If not, it's the next one. I'm pretty sure it's this one. I did 1 rep, and I just said, I'm done. I can't bench anymore. It felt insanely heavy. I mean, I'm set up tight, I'm dug in tight, dug in and unracked it. I was focused and I did 1 rep. I'm like, I can't bench anymore. This 3 days in a row, even with a relatively light weight, that was hard. You know what? I'd go so far as to say that felt almost like a max. So we know that we're done. So what did I decide to do? Because people are saying, oh, you're injured because your trap. I said, no, guys, I strained my trap. I can behind the neck press again, which means basically just leaving my trap alone for 5 days has allowed it to heal. My neck is a little bit stiff, but everything is healed. And that's the difference, guys, of knowing when to back off on things before you injure yourself. And I backed off 5 days, and now I can behind the neck press again. So why behind the neck press? because that's the muscles that are not getting the most work for me on my close grip. Meaning my chest is kind of a limiting factor right now on my close grip because I don't train my chest anymore. Yeah, my chest is big, but my pecs are feeling the brunt of the work on the close grip. And I know that for now, they're going to be the weak link, which means my delts and my triceps might not be getting quite enough stimulation on my close grip while my chest is playing catch up, right? I want to make sure that I keep them strong. So I'm going to come back behind. I only did one set of this because this was my litmus test. The behind the neck was my litmus test to see how my trap was feeling. Now, that was heavy. People say, wow, six reps of 135 for behind the neck for a guy your size. Yeah, because I just did heavy benching. I just did relatively heavy benching, and I'm fatigued from that. So I'm fatigued, and yeah, that was all I could do. But you know what? That's the whole point. Those muscles were already fatigued from doing another exercise. So if they're fatigued already, that's all it takes. I came back in, did one back off set. Now, the interesting thing that I had to ask, part of me, again, you've got to watch this bro mentality. Part of me stood there and said, maybe I should do some tricep extensions. Now, the question becomes, why would I do that? I have had zero inflammation in my triceps or tricep tendons for the last year because I overhead press for my triceps. Now that I'm adding in a bunch of closed grip bench press, I'm going, oh man, I don't want my triceps to be the weak link. But then I've just realized if I allow my connective tissue to get inflamed, that's going to affect my ability to bench with the sort of frequency and volume I need to do to bring my bench back up quickly, right? So why in the world would I do that? It would be counterproductive. Why would I come back in when I'm about to hit high frequency and volume and workload closed grip bench press so that I bring my bench back up really fast? That's going to slow me down. Besides, my triceps are about to get hit harder because of the closed grip at a new angle again that they haven't experienced in a long time with a lot of volume. They might actually grow as a result of the bench pressing. So why would I sabotage myself like that? And that's the question we've got to ask when we start picking accessories. You know, right now doing a behind the neck press makes sense for my close grip bench, right? It makes sense because if I know those muscles need a little bit of extra stimulation. I've been focusing really heavily on my shoulder girdle for the past year, wanting to bring my shoulder girdle up, and it's working. I need to pick an exercise that I can do that doesn't carry all the fatigue from my bench press as a good accessory. I want to keep my shoulder girdle strong. I want to keep it healthy. Using the behind the neck as an accessory will do that. It'll give me the little bit of extra tricep work, and because of the behind the neck position, it being overhead, it'll hit the long head a little more. It's the best accessory to keep those weak points growing. That will still hopefully carry over to my close grip. That's the accessory I need to be doing, an effective compound movement that complements what I'm trying to do. Everyone wants to throw everything but the kitchen sink at something, but you know what? We've got to step back and assess something. Am I bulking? No, I'm not in a calorie surplus. I'm 40 years old. I'm on TRT. I'm not blasting a gram of test. I'm not blasting a bunch of DECA. I don't have anything to help my connective tissue heal. Why in the world would I come in and do an isolation movement that could inflame my connective tissue when I'm in the middle of a bench intensive program to bring my bench press back up quickly? Why in the world would I sabotage myself like that? And that's the question a lot of people have to ask, you know, when they say, oh, should I add this exercise in? What does it bring to the table versus another exercise? If it doesn't bring something else to the table without a compromise that you can deal with, then that's a problem. In that case, that could actually set back my primary exercise because I'm going to be benching a lot. You guys are about to see what I'm doing here, and you'll see, kind of get an idea. Those fives, I'm done with fives. All right, I'm about to do something else, and we'll start seeing me film some of that next week to bring my bench up quickly. I don't have the connective tissue recovery to deal with a tricep extension right now. It's the worst thing I could possibly do. So I'm not going to do it. Let's be smart about it. Always think through your accessories. Make sure the extra lifts that you add in, that you're not throwing them in randomly, make sure that they make sense in the grand scheme of things as far as your goals, your strengths, your weaknesses, your recovery. injury prevention, inflammation, everything else, do they make sense with what you're doing? And part of me wanted to do it. I almost did it, but then I had to stop myself and say, why? Behind the neck press, that's what I need for this right now, for my structure, my weaknesses. I need a behind the neck press. And probably nothing else at this point, because all of the benching itself is going to do the main work. I just need a complementary exercise, and I think that'll work just fine. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.